TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, Erev Tov, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. IDF Special Forces, in cooperation with the ISA or Shin Bet, have retrieved 2 bodies of hostages from Hamas captivity in the Gaza Strip. Israel eliminates the prime minister of the Iranian-proxy Ansar-Allah, which is dominated by the Houthi tribe in Yemen. Britain, France, and Germany announced their decision to trigger a snapback mechanism, beginning a process of reinvigorating a list of sanctions on the Islamic Republic of Iran's nuclear program. In a complex rescue operation carried out by the IDF and the ISA, or Shin Bet, the body of Israeli hostage Ilan Weiss was successfully extracted from the Gaza Strip after 693 days in Hamas captivity. Ilan Weiss, a member of Kibbutz Be'eri, was brutally murdered and abducted from his home by Hamas terrorists on October 7th of 2023. He was 55 years old at the time of his death. After his abduction, his wife Shiri and daughter Noga were also kidnapped and were later returned to Israel as part of a previous hostage release agreement in November of 2023. It is important to know that an additional body was also extracted from Gaza, which is currently undergoing an identification process at Israel's National Center for Forensic Medicine. He is believed to be one of the 50 hostages that were in Hamas captivity until early this morning. Meanwhile, after the Iranian-proxy Ansar-Allah, which is dominated by the Houthi tribe in Yemen, failed to internalize Israel's warnings against the launch of ballistic missiles toward Israeli territory, the Israeli Air Force and Navy launched a joint surgical operation, a second of its kind this week alone, targeting and eliminating the Houthi prime minister this time, Ahmed al-Rawhawi, along with over a dozen of other senior Houthi officials. Subsequently, Defense Minister Israel Katz released a statement in which he asserted, quote, "As we had warned the Houthis in Yemen, after the plague of darkness comes the plague of the firstborn. Whoever rises against the state of Israel, their hands will be cut off." In other news, Israel warmly welcomes the decision by France, Britain, and Germany to trigger the snapback mechanism, which effectively reinvigorates a list of sanctions against Iran's nuclear program, and which essentially renders enrichment of uranium by the Iranians illegal under international law.
I welcome the decision of Britain, France, and Germany to snap back the sanctions against Iran. The state of Israel displayed resolve against the Ayatollahs in Tehran. Now is the hour of the international community to say clearly, we will not be silent and we will not stand idly by. We will thwart the Iranian armament that does not only threaten Israel, it threatens the entire world.
Prior to the announcement, which came after the 3 European powers informed the United States of their intentions, German Foreign Minister Johann Vadeful underscored that Berlin, Paris, and London remain committed to a diplomatic solution.
Die E3 haben immer klar gemacht, dass sie
The E3 have always made it clear that they are pursuing a clear policy towards Iran, namely to prevent it from arming itself with nuclear weapons and, for this reason, to take very restrictive measures with regard to the enrichment of relevant raw materials. In this context, we are consulting very intensively on what is necessary at this time. I would like to say from the outset that we have always said that the snapback mechanism is available. At the same time, we have always made it clear that we are interested in a diplomatic solution.
In a precautionary measure, since the Islamic Republic of Iran is notorious for its blatant use of the so-called hostage diplomacy, Germany has called upon its citizens to immediately leave Iran. Meanwhile, in Tehran, a senior cleric of the Ayatollah regime has claimed that France, Britain, and Germany, or the so-called E3, have fallen prey to the will of the United States and the Jews in a latest illustration of the Ayatollah regime's anti-Western and anti-Semitic sentiments.
This action that these three European countries took, this treacherous stone throwing that they took, this action, brothers and sisters, is an illegal, immoral, completely political action and under pressure from the United States and the Zionist lobby. We really feel sorry for them, for becoming proxy forces of the Zionist movement. They are acting for them.
While insisting that the action by the E3 will undoubtedly trigger a reaction, the Ayatollah regime is trying to force-feed its followers a baseless narrative that claims the move follows Iran's resounding victory over the United States and Israel during the 12 Days War.
It is a symbolic action to cover up the shameful defeat that the world-hungry America and the Zionist regime suffered in this recent battle. They want to cover it up.
Turning to the United Nations headquarters in New York, where the UN Security Council has voted to extend the mandate of the United Nations interim force in Lebanon for the last time.
The draft resolution received 15 votes in favor. The draft resolution has been adopted unanimously as Resolution 2790.
The United States notes that the first I in UNIFIL stands for interim. The time has come for UNIFIL's mission to end. This is the last time we will support an extension of UNIFIL. The security environment in Lebanon is radically different than just 1 year ago, creating the space for Lebanon to assume greater responsibility. We commend the Lebanese Armed Forces deployment progress since the cessation of hostilities went into effect, and we will continue to work with the LAF to expand its capabilities as Lebanon carries out its critical work in disarming Hezbollah. We support the government of Lebanon's efforts to assume security responsibilities throughout the country. We urge the international community to use the coming year to bolster the Lebanese armed forces as we work toward this shared objective.
Israeli Ambassador Dani Danon, for his part, highlighted that UNIFIL has essentially failed its mandate since its presence had not prevented Hezbollah from building one of the world's most dangerous arsenals of munitions. Turning to the northern Israeli Druze village of Julis, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Druze leaders and bereaved families who lost their sons in Israel's multi-front war, after which the Israeli leader addressed the situation in southern Syria, including Israel's reason for responding to the Damascus-led massacres against both Druze and Christian minorities in Sweda Governorate.
During the worst of the atrocities, when Sheikh Mofak Tarif called me and said, during the Holocaust, the Jews cried for help and nobody came. Israel must come. It was like an arrow into the heart. Not only was it factually correct, it was also morally true and true from the standpoint of humanity. It is also especially true in the genuine, not merely declarative, bond, the deep and genuine bond between us, because we are brothers. Israel would not extend a hand to save our Druze brothers? And we acted. When I understood the magnitude of the tragedy, we acted immediately.
Prime Minister Netanyahu continued by asserting that he is not naive when it comes to the leadership of Damascus. The Israeli leader further underscored Jerusalem's move on three crucial issues vis-a-vis southern Syria.
We are currently moving forward on three things: on defending the Druze community in the Suwaida district, but not just there, and creating a demilitarized zone from the southern Golan Heights to Damascus, including the Suwaida district, and in creating a humanitarian corridor to facilitate the bringing in of aid, food, building materials, whatever is necessary, including medical assistance, on a large scale. These discussions are being held at the moment, at this very moment.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. Please keep praying for the return of the 48 hostages who've now endured 693 days in brutal Hamas captivity in the Gaza Strip. Pray also for the Druze and Christians in southern Syria who are now under siege by the Damascus regime. And pray also for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan wishing you a Shabbat Shalom u'Mevorach, and God willing, we will see you during our next update. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.